All right, so I'm going to continue from the last point I ended up, which last time what I did I just created a link for a malicious website, which was a Gmail, Twitter, and Facebook, but it was using the IP address 192.168.1.64, if I'm not mistaken. But today, I'll go a little bit in a different direction where I want to create HTTPS URL, and I'll map with my IP address, my internal IP address. So in this case, it could be very less suspicious to the victim. And I'm talking about victim here because I assume that you can play a role, a victim role. So in order to understand these attacks, and in order for you to be able to protect yourself from this kind of social engineering attacks, I assume that you need to play a victim role to be able to figure out those kind of issues. So I'll go to share my screen. Yeah, but before I go to create a URL which emulates Google, so it could be something like this. We'll see that later. You can see I put mail dot. Yeah, so essentially if you go to, so I put a 0 here instead of O. So if I put a O, of course I will go to actual Gmail. So you can see here I was logged in with my previous email address, so it require me to log in, but this is actual Gmail. So what's happened when you use the same URL but you substitute the O with the 0 here? So it will definitely give you a blank something like this, unable to connect, because this one is not configured anywhere in my machine. So what I'll show you later is to configure this address with a little twist here of 0 instead of O. Then we can have the HTTPS and this URL working. So for sending the link, I won't need to send the 192.168, the local IP. So I can just map this to a URL in my machine. So for you, if you type your address, is better. It is not easy for you to fall in this kind of, to this kind of attacks. But if you are the kind of a person who click the links, then if I send you a link like this with a panic email, it might look like something familiar to you by the look of it quickly. Then if you open, then you can get into issues. So I'm going to show you here with the okay, how to create first the email that might look like it is coming from Google account or Google company, but it's not. And then later after that, I'll show you how to create a URL which emulates Google. So I'll divide my screen into two parts here. Split the terminals on my left side. Okay, so sudo is just a super user. I need to be a super user for the way I set up my machine. Sudo, then my password. This is a password for my machine. Okay, so on my left side, I'm going to create a listener, and on my right side, I'm going to create an email address. Okay, I'll start with the creating email address with the link. So my IP address, I know the IP address is 192.168.1.64. So that would be my link for now, but later we can substitute that IP with the actual URL. So normally I'll go to my SE toolkit, and this time it will be a little bit twisted. I'll go to social engineering attack number 1. Then I'll go to website attack vectors. No, sorry. I'll go to number 5, which is a mass mailer. I talked about mass mailer a little bit last time. So this is what I'm trying to do today. Number 5. So if you want to send your email to only one person, you can choose first option. But if you want to send, and this is what most attackers do, they will send to a lot of people, a mass email. That's why they'll address you like dear colleague or dear user or dear friend. They'll never address you by your name, like dear Gemma, because if you do a mass mailer, then you have the same message you go to everyone with the dear Gemma or dear John or dear something. Yeah. So in this case, if an attacker knows exactly who the victim is, the potential victim is, then could use number 1. So if I put 1 here, it will ask me to put the email address that I want to send my traffic to, or my email to. So I'll put my email address, my personal email address, gemmablue@gmail, gmail.com. And then, so here we other options is, because you cannot just send email from out of the blue, from nowhere. So you need it has to come from something. Could be one of your Gmail accounts, option number 1, or if you have Open Relay, or if you have your own server, your own domain. Let's say you work at Amazon, so you have something like gemma@amazon.com or .org, you can put it here. You can choose number 2, then you can put that domain. For me, I just use Gmail, so choose number 1. Then I'll put my IP, my email address. Yeah, so now it will ask me to log in, but before that, it will ask me which name do I prefer to appear when I send it to a victim. In this case, of course, I'll put Google support, because I'm emulating this kind of attack. Google support. Yeah, just Google support, maybe with the exclamation mark. So from Google support, then my password, of course you want to see it, is for my email that my email will come from. So it will need to log you in and to send it from that email in the background. So if you want to flag the email to have higher priority, you can say yes, which I'll do yes. It'll be prioritized over other emails going to your inbox. Do you want to attach? No, for now. I don't want to attach anything. I don't want to put any inline file. Say no. Subject. So most of the time, these subjects here attackers prefer something which will make you panic, yeah, so that you can make irrational decisions, that you can just clicking stuff without even thinking, without giving a second thought. So here they will say something like, your account has been compromised, or someone is accessing your account. Yeah, so you can put a capital letters like someone is accessing your account. Yeah, so that is this email subject. Then next here, send as a HTML or plain. I prefer plain text for now. I don't want to complicate. And now the body, I need to enter the body here. So I will say dear, the normal drill for email writing, dear Gemma, which is my name, comma, I'll go next line. So you can notice here, you need to end up with end at the end of the email body, so that to terminate and send the email. Without that, it won't send any email. So next line of the body here will be, okay, now dear Gemma, we are suspecting that someone is trying to log into your account, to log in to log in into your account. Never mind about my English. Sorry, English is my second language, if not third language. So just bear with me for this part. Yeah. So then next, I could say this is based on the multiple login attempts in our log files, let's say. Something, not necessarily to be correct. So I just want to give you some ideas from the log files. Now, the best part is, please verify your account by logging into the or with the, I don't know, something like that. So with the link below. Basically, it should be like that. The link below, and the link here will be http:// my IP, which is where I harvest the username and password .1.64. So here's where I want you to notice. Now we are going to put this one. In the next step, we are going to put http mail.google.com. In the last part, we'll have HTTPS. So this is just for now for demonstration, but someone can map this one either through hacking the DNS server or just to give you a link, which everything will be resolved in my local machine if I have a public IP. So here I'll click enter, and then I could say something like regards Google support. And attackers, Google support team, let's say. Attacker also have a they're kind of careless in these kind of attacks. So you might notice a lot of mistakes from the way they address you to the way they write, the grammar, just like the way I'm writing here. Yeah. So when you send to people like, let's say 100 people, you expect at least 2 to 3 people, they will fall for this kind of attack, which is sad. So I'll end up here. Oh, so before I end, I need to launch my actual attack here on the left side with a Gmail. 1, 2, 3. 1 for web template. So it will go to this IP. So the one that I've specified here on the right side. IP for the tab naming. Now I'll clone Google Mail. Yeah, so now it is listening. Okay, so from here, on my right side, I can just end my body of the message. So once I click OK, once I hit enter, so I'm done. Press enter to return to continue. So now I'm done. So I'll go to my Gmail account to see whether I got this kind of email and how does it look like. And mind you that I'm listening here. So whoever going to open the link coming from this email, which is purported to be from Google, but not, then I'll have the credentials here on the left side. So if I go here to, okay, let me go to my Gmail. Let me log in normally. So I'm logged in. So you can see Google support. Someone is accessing your account. And, by the look of it, I tell you, not so many people would go and investigate whether this is from Google or not. At that point, this message alone, it scares you. Someone is accessing your account. and then you see Google support on your left side, which of course it make you somehow uncomfortable. So if you open this one, yeah, if you have some plugins for anti-phishing scams, you'll get something like this, but not necessarily always to be like that. And some good attackers, they might craft their emails to bypass this kind of safety tools, or even a user might not care about this. So user might just say, "Looks safe to me," and then let me see what's going on. Dear Gemma, we are suspecting that someone is trying to log into your account. You can see I've put a mistake here to you account. So this happens a lot. So one of the clues that you might need to to consider is the Google will never make these kind of mistakes, and this is not how they verify. I mean, they would alert you. Yeah, so click the link up below to verify. Here's Google support, yeah, but you need to go further and click this arrow down here. You know it's Google support, then you have something which is not Google, but very few people would check this, and even more unfortunate for mobile devices, you have very little chance of investigating these things due to the limited size of the mobile devices. So if I open this link, now you can see I have my Google open. So you can see now I'm still having my IP address, my normal IP address. But of course, many people won't check this, or at least in the mobile phone, maybe it could be truncated. And even worse, I can just put the URL, which I'll show later, that looks like Google. So it will be even more difficult for a person to realize this. So I can go here with my Gemma Blue 86 with my fake password. Let me put Cairo 2018. Yeah, this doesn't exist anywhere. Maybe it does. I'm sure some people have this kind of password, but it's not associated with this email. So I'll log in and I'll be redirected to my usual Gmail. So in the beginning, I might think, okay, it was a mistake. And then if I go to my attacking machine there, I'll find that these things have been harvested. You can see gemmablue86@gmail.com, password Cairo 2018. So this is what I did before, except with this part of sending, to do mass mailing. So I'll end up here. So the next video is to craft this part here. The IP address.